Good evening. Good evening, each and every one that tunes in to the Nattyral Guru Show. The Nattyral Guru YouTube station is up and running, and there's some videos on the station under Nattyral Guru, and you all can check those out before this one. But I'd like to run a little bit of another a video from Matrix Wisdom again, and I would just like to play you the actual quote from Plato about Solon and the old commitment, the priest. Okay? So I'm gonna play it, and then we're gonna come back, and we're gonna have a discussion about some things that are going on. Right?
In Egypt, everything is right there at the start. The answer to the mystery is obvious, but it is seldom considered because it competes against the prevailing theory of modern thinking. As John Anthony West stated, Egyptian civilization was not a development, it was a legacy. The sudden appearance of cities was more than likely backed up by an awareness of sophisticated social structures. Furthermore, although Egypt is older, the superiority of ancient Egypt over ancient Greece is indisputable. Herodotus, like many other modern historians, has pointed out this inconsistency. Even earlier than Herodotus is Solon's account. Solon, 559 BC, was an Athenian statesman, lawmaker, poet, and a distant ancestor to Plato. In the city of Sais, he spoke to one old priest and was told, "O Solon, Solon, you Hellenes are never anything but children, and there is not an old man among you." Solon asked him what he meant. The priest replied, "That in mind you are all young. There is no old opinion handed down among you by ancient tradition, nor any science which is hoary with age. And I will tell you why. There have been, and will be again, many destructions of mankind, arising out of many causes. Some survivors probably kept valuable knowledge originating from the first people, which allowed them to prosper faster and earlier than others."
Okay? So now we're dealing with something that was written in the very distant past, right? This is the account of Solon, and Plato is revered, the land of Atlantis, and all these things, right? Sorry. So, Solon's account to the Helleners, which is the Greeks, that they are young in mind. That's what he meant. They were young in mind. And this comes to now. On the Facebook page, you get the troll. So my beautiful queen, she always is giving her, opinion on what's going on. And I think she gave an opinion about the track runners that came in 1, 2, and 3 at the Olympics in Japan. So is it Japan this year that they're holding the Olympics? I don't even know. I'm not even interested, really. But this person wrote and said he can't believe that an island that has 2.3 million people would win 1, 2, and 3 in the Olympic race. And I started out playing what Solon had recorded because I want to emphasize historically what Greeks and therefore those who came after them are young in mind. And they have not developed their minds, they've developed their oppression, brutality. They've used their effort to make weapons, better weapons, right? Because the standard of living in this society is that you got a bigger gun, you got a bigger weapon, so you call the shots, right? That's the world that we live in. But let's talk about the African history. You know, I replied back to him that Africa does not need no other so-called race on earth. And as a matter of fact, without Africans, nobody else would exist on earth. That's my statement. Far too long, last 2,000 years, people have been propping up false history. They use religion to justify themselves. Oh, we go way back, way back. There's no proof but what they say. Because, left brain speaks, but it doesn't see. So, it can't understand people see the lie, right? Because they can't see it. They're only trying to protect themselves to maintain the lie of being supreme. But their own historian, which they rate, says the African told them, you were young in mind. Young in mind. So, for the last 2,000 years, we've been run by people who are young in mind. And if you look around the world, it's pretty obvious. Pretty obvious. And it's why they argue and fight against the humanity of the African. Because it's not superiority and inferiority. It is the humanity. In reality is who's more human, not who's superior. Superior to what? When Father Death comes for everybody, rich, poor, middle, and the indifferent, he doesn't care. Father Death doesn't care. Right? So, what can you say? But the young minds that have controlled the function of humanity on this planet, and that the lies that keep being perpetuated is just fascinating. It's fascinating to see people arguing the lie from their point of view. Like, I blows me away. This one's right, that one's right, this one this, and that one's that, and everybody can sit behind the keyboard and punch out an opinion. But try speaking some truth when you're about to hit those buttons. you know. Try to express yourself truthfully, because the young minds, they've got to answer for the destruction that has occurred in the last 2,000 years. I mean, they've given the majority of people an end date, a revelations where God is going to come and save everybody. Right? They've given an end date. But what end date is there but their demise, which has been caused by them? I mean, their demise is faster than other civilizations just for their actions. And these actions today, I don't know, in recorded history other than the Vedas, it's pretty disgusting. You know, the want regard for human life, for the life of the earth, for the life of where they live. I don't understand it. How do we live on a planet with the gift of life and disregard life? People would rather have, $1 million than real love, real loyalty and friendship, compassion and understanding. Human qualities are not valued in a capitalistic, greedy society. It's not. And I refuse to tell you anything positive about this society other than righteous people still live in spite of it. In spite of it. Because they can create a world that has decent people. They live decent with people. People live decent with them. And they can live a quality, full life without ever believing in a system that has robbed, cheated, and steal from the ordinary people. A rich man with $1 billion tell you he doesn't pay taxes. He does not have to be socially responsible to the society that gave him the $1 billion. And this is the society we're living in. I don't know. I guess I'm somewhat of a realist, because I can't settle my mind in any kind of false idea of what this society is. Bob Marley, he said, they're pursuing an illusion, but they could never attain it. And so they will always create war. So tell me, peoples of the world, tell me, right? Because we've got the young minds running the world, and the old minds have no influence. People have relegated them to a trash heap, just like this society relegates old people to old folks' homes. In the same way, they value not wisdom and experience of life. All they value is profit. And as their own book says, what is it? A man profit the world and lose his soul. But in reality, what it says is, don't gain the world and lose your soul. Gain your soul and lose the world. How about gaining your soul and losing the world? That means you can live in this world, and if you have what you need, it doesn't seem like you want. 7 generations ahead taught them not to be greedy. Generation after generation after generation. But here comes the young mind. See the prosperity in the land, steal the land, kill off the buffaloes because they want to remove the people who belong to this land. That's a young mind. That's a young mind. And then the same young mind, their descendants of that young mind, act like nothing ever happened. I keep hearing the white supremacists when they get pissed off in America that this is our country. You know, don't speak another language. This is America. This is our country. We speak English. Wow, they've got an ego to be on stolen land. My goodness. They have corrupted every single part of this world with oppression, violence, corruption, and brutality. Beyond the scope, I don't know. I don't know if the amount of human beings, innocent, who have been murdered in the last 2,000 years equal to any other time in written history. I can't understand it. Young minds who walk around like they are superior to everybody else. You know? A young person coming to tell an 80-year-old person, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. Because they're young and pretty stupid. Hey, old man, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, I've lived 80 years. You sure you're going to make it? That's all the old man has to say. It's okay if I leave tomorrow. I've lived 80 years. Will you live 80 years? Will you have a world to live in for 80 years? Nobody ever thinks about that, really, you know? No, absolutely not. Why worry about that? Let's go to the stock market. Let's open up a business. Let's maintain the evil of this society. Because everybody wants to make a profit. Hmm? Africans worked for 400 years, no pay. Never mind profit, right? No pay. But today everybody wants profit. Hmm? Profit. Same word they use in a book that says the prophets were the children of God. I don't understand this society because they make a mockery of everything and there's nothing sacred in it. Nothing. Oh, yes, there is. Excuse me. War. When they go and honor the dead in the military cemeteries. You know, that's their sacred. Hmm? Wow. The last 2,000 years has put us where we are. There's no going back. There's only moving forward. And the cosmos, the time is changing. Hmm. We're coming into, you know, top of the hour. And we're going to start out on a new hour. 26,000 year hour. Half hour for 13,000 years is a half hour. You know. And this new hour from the cosmos has been an hour that's been repeated ever since the universe has been here, which is eternity. Really. It never begun and it won't end. And human beings know that. They created an entire civilization as spokesperson, as voices of eternity. But you know, left brain, young minds cannot conceive or perceive the esoteric of themselves. Inner is esoteric, outer is material. The esoteric can starve the material. What did the holy guy do? 40 days and 40 nights? The inner, the ethereal, and the outer, the material. You don't have to see a ghost. You yourself is the ghost within your own body. You control your body, function in it, but you can control it. So if you can control your body, are you really your body? Hmm? Or are you the one inside the ethereal that truly makes the decision? Hmm? The body can get sick or the body can stay healthy depending on the ethereal being inside, right? If the ethereal being inside has psychological problems from being materially, physically abused, then that ethereal being inside is damaged. So what'll happen? The body will reflect the damage, right? You see a beautiful young lady, she's 17, 18 years old. She's walking on the street selling her body. If you buy her a cup of coffee and sit down with her and ask her what happened, she'll tell you, oh, my uncle, my father, my brother, somebody abused her. And she figure if they can abuse her, well, then why doesn't she make some money with the abuse? But young-minded society don't care about things like that. I watched another one. They say in America, an ambulance service is not essential. And private people who only want to make profit from it run them. I have to say, I am glad, I'm glad I live in Canada. I'm sorry. No way. No way would I want to live in a place like that. No way. I'll tell you a story. I used to work 2 jobs. And I'd be gone from, say, 5:30 in the morning, and I wouldn't get home till maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock at night. So this one night, I got off work, and I'm driving down the road, and the road is an 80-kilometer road. And I'm going, and I just want to get home. It's been a long day, and I just want to get home. So I might have been pushing it like, a little over 90 kilometers. Up here in Canada, it's kilometers. So a little over 90 kilometers, and the speed limit is 80. So I'm going down the road, and I look over, and I see him parked on the road, the police officer. He's parked on the side road. And as I saw him, I set my signal, pulled over, and stopped. And he came up behind me. And he says, oh, you stopped. I guess you realized you were speeding. Do you want to come back to the car and take a look? I said, no, officer, I knew I was speeding. I looked down at my speedometer when I saw you, and I realized I was speeding. But officer, I've been on the road since 6 o'clock this morning, and now it's 12 o'clock at night, and I just want to get home. I'm a hard-working guy. And he says to me, what would you do if I give you a break? And I said, you know what? I just paid the ticket. I'm just trying to get home. And he says, well, first thing, your headlights aren't on. we never had automatic headlights back then. In them days, you had to physically turn them on. I said, oh my goodness, and I turned them on right away, and he goes, okay. And he said, the second thing is you're speeding. You're doing 15 kilometers over. And, so he says, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you 10 over. I'm not going to charge you for the headlights being off. That's a $250 fine, by the way. Okay? And because you stopped, didn't give me a hard time, I didn't have to run and chase you down. You admitted you were speeding. So I give you a break. 10 kilometers over where I got in the night. Made it home by 12:30, thank God. And I watched these videos of black people in America. And oh my God. I was a young black man trying to work to pay my way and mind my family. What would have happened in any city in America at 12 o'clock at night, a man coming home from work, Just happened to be up speeding a little. Tired. Didn't even realize he was speeding. Never get the chance to go home. I don't understand your country. People keep talking about how wonderful it is, and I can't see it. I can't. The neighborhoods I lived here in Canada, yeah, you had your one and twos here and there, but the majority of people, you know, I had my friend's mother asked us right in front of us, me and my friend, how come he's so mannerable? Is that phony? Is he pretending? And I had to explain to her that where I come from in Jamaica, if you're not mannerly, oh boy, you're not going to have a good time. So I said it's naturally a part of my culture to be mannerable. She couldn't believe it. But I never was ever treated like, oh, why are you bringing this little black boy into the house for? No, never ever felt like that. Matter of fact, I used to go up north with some of the families. They teach me how to drive a boat. They taught me how to chop wood, shoot a gun. You know, when I was working, and one of my customers that used to come in because I used to sell electrical products, one of my customers decided, hey, you want to come up north to help me the weekend? I got to finish staining my cottage. We went up there, and you know, rich buddy down the lane there pull up, come into the house, and you know, we're all having a little drink, and he said something that was inappropriate. And my friend got up and kicked him out of the house and told him, don't come back here. So that's the kind of life I really lived in Canada. So I don't know. Yes, there's racism here. No doubt about it. In the government institutions, somewhat in Quebec, and somewhat in the conservative provinces. Yes, there is. Right? And in Ontario here, I saw the white supremacists were trying to win some seat in the election. They had a big sign up on the street. I saw the sign myself. Yeah, we do. But Canadians are a little different. A Canadian is having a party out in his backyard, and you go out in yours to walk your dog or something. Next thing you know, you have a beer in your hand and you're having a conversation. That's just the way it is. You know, so we as people need to face the truth. And the minute Eurocentric ideas start becoming less important and everybody else's input become equally important, we're not going to make it. Because young minds cannot get us out of the situations they put us in. Just like a teenager. Steal Papa's car, smash up the car, and can't get himself out of that. Police is calm, and can't get himself out of that. So young minds that run the world can't get themselves or the world out of the problems they have caused upon the earth through greed. Simple greed. You know, in Kemet, one of the most grievous things is greed. So, you know, as I said, those genetic those genes are receding and the dominant is expanding. And, you know, like Mother Nature taught you with this virus, once she puts something in motion, you really can't stop it. No matter how egotistical you think to be to stop it, right? You want to travel spaceships through wormholes, right? The next time we're going to talk about the granite door. All Western civilizations call the false door, including the Arabs. It's the false door. Why would they make a false door in a granite block? It's why, to this day, they don't know how to build the pyramid. It is why, to this day, they can't understand how they designed and built tunnels underground without light. The halls underground, wow. They are not, there's no lamp burn, nothing. You know why? It's behind the granite door. You have to understand molecular biology, atomic physics, and cosmological energies in order to get through that door. Because people who could build pyramids, how could young minds describe it? Look how many books they have written. Look how many books they have written on this wonderful, mysterious African cultural place. That one set took it over, one set of ignorance took it over, and the other ignorance took over the culture of the place. And they want to say, no, it doesn't belong to Africa. Oh, it's a World Heritage Site. It doesn't belong to Africa. No. My doggies. They like to argue with them one another. They're jealous over their queen mother. And that's just the way it goes, I guess. Right? They cannot accept the Africans, the original people on earth. You know what I want? I want you to understand the history in ancient Kemet said we arrived from the stars. We arrived from the stars. The people who came from the stars and manifested civilization on the earth. Sort of why young minds always want to go to space, eh? They want to see what's out there physically. Because that's all young minds can accomplish. But physically runs on a line as the temples were built, right? Life temples were built in the east, and death temples were built in the west, on the west bank. And life temples were built on the east bank. That describes life. right? Living physically. You start out in the east as you were born in the womb, right? And you end up in the west in the coffin, in the womb, the darkness, back in the womb, right? But there's two more directions, north and south. What kind of living is that one? From north to south while you're living east to west. What's that? What kind of motion is that one? Though you're walking from the east to the west, you're dead. You're living north to south to north. What kind of life would that be if you're living that kind of life? Not just east to west. That's something to think about. Until we meet again, this is the Nattyral Guru YouTube channel, and I hope you tune in. Subscribe, like. Okay. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.
What you did, 10 minutes?